very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Suresh Salley launches fast unto death demanding repeal of Prevention of Terrorism Act. Authorities grant permission for wife, son and brother to visit him.
මට ඉතින් හරිම දුකයි මගේ හස්බන්ඩ් ගැන නමුත් එයා උපවාසය අතහරින්නේ නැහැ.
මේක නීතියක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ නීතිය අකුරට මිච්චිච්ච කරා. එයා වැරද්ද කරෙත් නම් ඒකත් හරියට කරන්න.
Political figures including Namal, Vimal, Gammanpila, Channa and Sarath Weerasekara come forward in support of Suresh Salley. Plans to launch a Satyagraha campaign.
මේ වෙනකොට මේ පාස්කු පාරේ අදාළව විශාල තොරතුරු ප්‍රමාණයක් විදරව වෙලා තිබෙනවා. නිසා අපි දකිනවා සලෙත් ඇතුළු සලේ වටා හිටපු විශාල පිරිසක් අද බය බීරාන්ත වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
As investigations into a number of controversial incidents continue, opposition leader extends an invitation for unity and cooperation. Rainfall expected to continue across several parts of the country. Met Department advises fishing and naval communities to refrain from engaging in fishing activities in the northwestern seas.
And now the stories in detail. Relatives of retired Major General Suresh Salley, the former director of the State Intelligence Service who is currently being detained on suspicion in connection with investigations into the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks, say that he has begun a fast unto death.
According to his family members, Salley relaunched the protest demanding several measures, including the repeal of the Prevention of Terrorism Act. They state that he intends to continue the fast unto death hunger strike in support of those demands.
Retired Major General Suresh Salley, the former head of Sri Lanka's State Intelligence Service, was arrested by the Criminal Investigation Department on the 25th of February in connection with investigations into the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks. He is currently being held in CID custody under detention orders. During court proceedings related to the Easter Sunday attacks, Additional Solicitor General Dilip Piris informed the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court that Salley had allegedly played a key role in the events surrounding the Easter Sunday terror attacks. The court also heard allegations that following the attacks, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, along with Namal Rajapaksa and Basil Rajapaksa, visited former Eastern Province Chief Minister Sivanesthuri Chandrakantan, also known as Pilyan, while he was being held at Batiklo prison. It was further alleged that they had informed him that arrangements would be made to secure his release on bail within a week of Gotabaya Rajapaksa assuming office as president. As part of the ongoing Easter Sunday attack investigation, the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court has also imposed a foreign travel ban on former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Against this backdrop, leader of the Pivituru Helorumaya, Attorney-at-Law Uday Gammanpila stated at a media briefing yesterday that Salley had commenced a fast unto death while in detention. According to Gammanpila, the protest was launched in opposition to what he described as mistreatment and harassment faced by Salley while in custody.
Major General Suresh Salley has decided to undertake a fast unto death from last night in protest against what he says are inhumane acts and degrading treatment carried out by the CID under the instructions of the President. He has reportedly conveyed this decision to his son in an emotional conversation. He has also refused water and medication, fully aware of the potentially fatal consequences of this protest. He has said that living under what he considers false accusations and inhumane treatment is worse than death.
Responding to these allegations, Sri Lanka police issued a statement yesterday rejecting the claims made by Gammanpila. The police stated that Salley had not been subjected to assault, torture or any form of inhumane treatment as alleged. They further emphasized that he has been treated in the same manner as any other suspect in custody, without receiving either special privileges or discriminatory treatment. Amid these developments, Salley's wife, son and brother visited the CID headquarters today to inquire about his well-being. They said that Salley had initiated the fast unto death based on several demands, including the repeal of the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
My father was arrested over 100 days ago under the PTA, and he has started a fast unto death campaign from last Friday night. He has refused any meals, water or food. The main reason why he is doing this is to repel the PTA and to show how he has been treated in a very cruel and inhuman way, from the way they are treating him like a dog within the CID premises. There were multiple President's Commission reports, FBI reports and other types of reports released which show Dad's innocence, especially in terms of the Channel 4 investigations. The Imam's report fully proves his innocence. So in addition to that, in last week's court hearing, we put a motion regarding Dad's health, or the judge actually requested a motion, and the JMO report shows that Dad has been tortured within the CID premises, mainly mentally tortured. He has been treated in a very inhuman way, and the judge still hasn't given a ruling in that favor in regarding to that, and they'll give that favor I think this week. But what we are asking for is to mainly repel the PTA and to take the Easter attack or take the Easter investigation in a proper and justified manner, or a manner which brings justice to everyone involved, because this very much seems like he is being attacked and he is being framed here. So what we request is mainly or the main thing my dad is doing through the Fast on Death campaign is to repel the PTA and to show how he has been cruelly treated and inhumanly treated within the CID premises.
He has begun what he describes as a fast unto death, and he has made it clear that he does not intend to stop. We have tried repeatedly to persuade him to reconsider, but he remains firm in his decision. He says he is doing this in protest against the PTA because he maintains his innocence. I am deeply saddened by what my husband is going through, but he has no intention of abandoning the fast unto death. He believes that he has always been prepared to sacrifice his life for the country and feels compelled to stand against what he sees as injustice.
My brother has made it clear that he will not end this fast. He says he will not even agree to be hospitalized and is refusing all forms of treatment. At the moment, he is extremely weak. We continue trying to persuade him, but he is refusing food and water. We support a proper investigation into these Sunday attacks. It must be conducted correctly and fairly. We respect the law and are not asking for him to be released or for the investigation to be stopped. What we are asking is simple. If there is a law, it should be applied properly. If he is guilty, then the law should take its course. We want a fair and credible process, and we are prepared to cooperate fully. The people of this country also deserve to see the truth established through a proper investigation.
Meanwhile, Attorney-at-Law Asit Siriwardana, legal counsel for detained former intelligence chief Suresh Salley, has sent a letter to Director of the Criminal Investigation Department, Shania Besekara. In the letter, the attorney states that Salley's physical and mental condition has deteriorated significantly and that he requires immediate hospitalization for medical treatment. The letter further notes that Salley should be urgently examined and treated by qualified independent medical professionals and transferred without delay to a suitable hospital where he can undergo a comprehensive medical assessment and receive the necessary care. According to the attorney, during a recent meeting with family members, Salley had requested arrangements to donate his eyes and sought permission to meet his lawyer to prepare his last will and other related legal documents. The letter also argues that Salley is no longer in a position to make rational decisions regarding his health and well-being, and that the conditions under which he is currently being detained pose a serious and immediate threat to his life. Through the letter, Attorney Siriwardana further warns that if any harm or death were to occur to Salley while in custody after this notification, the responsible officials could be held personally liable under both civil and criminal law. The letter adds that this notification would be relied upon as evidence in any future legal proceedings, both domestically and internationally, concerning the matter.
Speaking in Yakkala today, Vasantha Mudalige, a member of the executive committee of the People's Struggle Movement, made the following remarks.
For years,
the Rajapaksas have portrayed Suresh Salley as an extraordinary military officer and an exceptional intelligence operative. Yet now, after spending only a short period in detention, he appears to be complaining about his circumstances. First of all, if Suresh Salley is innocent, he has every opportunity to prove that in court and secure his release through the legal process. No one is preventing that from happening. However, it is only now, as allegations emerge that Salley was connected to the planning and execution of the Easter Sunday attacks, that we hear complaints about prison conditions, food, and his treatment in custody. We must remember that Suresh Salley was not arrested without reason or without allegations being made against him. Compare that to what happened to us. During the 2022 Aragale protests, we were detained under the Prevention of Terrorism Act simply for participating in demonstrations. We were subjected to treatment that was even harsher, yet at that time, people like Salley did not call for the repeal of the PTA or speak about the hardships faced by those detained under it. Ultimately, the courts determined that there was no basis for the allegations against us and ordered our release. There was not a single member of the Sri Lanka government who brought a case against us with evidence of wrongdoing. In contrast, there are many people in this country who believe Suresh Salley was involved in these matters, and evidence has been presented alleging such involvement. It is at a time when all of these facts and allegations are coming to light that attempts are now being made to portray Suresh Salley as an innocent victim and to clear his name.
Meanwhile, various parties continue to express concerns and opinions regarding detained former intelligence chief Suresh Salley. National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and member of parliament Namal Rajapaksa also commented on the matter in a post shared on his X account. Excerpt.
Salley is not under a magistrate's remand order but is detained under the PTA. What is striking is the silence of many of the very activists who spent years campaigning against the PTA. Their sudden silence now raises serious questions about consistency and principle. We all want justice for the victims of the Easter Sunday attacks, but it must be delivered without bias, political influence or selective application. As the opposition, we are not against investigations. Accountability is important, but politically motivated investigations will never deliver real justice to the Easter Sunday victims.
End of excerpt. These are the views expressed by the former private secretary to former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa regarding Suresh Salley.
If he continues this fast unto death for another 24 to 48 hours without interruption, there is a real possibility that his life could be at risk. Should any harm come to him, responsibility must be borne by the Anura Harini Tilvin administration. We urge the government to ensure his safety. If even the slightest harm comes to Suresh Salley during this fast, or if his condition deteriorates as a result, patriotic groups and those who care deeply about the country will inevitably take to the streets in response.
Meanwhile, Wimal Veeravansa, Uday Gammanpila, Salat Veerasekara and Channa Jayasumana participated in a joint media briefing today.
Major General Suresh Salley.
Today, what we see here is, in our view and belief, an attempt that has pushed Major General Suresh Salley into a situation where his life has been made unbearable, potentially leading to a scenario where he could even lose his life or be driven to take his own life. We believe this dangerous game must be stopped. This cruel political game being played in the name of Salley and the war heroes must be brought to an end. The strongest possible pressure must be applied to stop it. We are also launching a continuous satyagraha in parallel, as Suresh Salley is currently on a life-threatening fast unto death and his life is in danger.
ජීවිතය අවදානමේ නිසා ඊට සමගාමීව අඛණ්ඩ සත්‍යග්‍රහයක්
අද වෙනකොට ISIS සහරාන් සමග
We have seen articles on the newspaper that a former member of the ISIS linked to Zahran's suicide group has now been taken in as a government witness. In that context, we have to ask, will this same suicide bomber from Zahran's extremist group now claim that someone like Gotabaya Rajapaksa, a Sinhala Buddhist leader, should be brought forward as an attacker linked to terrorism? We are also watching whether claims will be made involving Zahran's wife, parents, siblings and even his two sons, and whether further statements will be made suggesting that their children and spouses were also involved or killed in suicide attacks. We are observing how this situation develops. I remind the entire nation that if there is even a drop of compassion left in your heart, you should be present tomorrow morning at the Satyagraha being held opposite the Fort railway station in support of Suresh Salley.
Do you remember? Vimal Veeravansa has previously staged several hunger strikes and Satyagraha campaigns in Sri Lanka. One of the most notable was held outside the United Nations office in Sri Lanka in protest against UN actions related to alleged war crimes and the Darusman report. That protest was later brought to an end when then-President Mahinda Rajapaksa personally intervened and persuaded him to call off the hunger strike by offering him king coconut water. In 2017, while in prison, Veeravansa launched another hunger strike claiming political victimization. Over the years, there have been multiple instances where he has engaged in similar protest actions, including a more recent strike against educational reforms, during which he demanded the resignation of the Minister of Education. However, when those demands were not met, the protest was eventually called off. Now, Vimal Veeravansa is preparing to launch a Satyagraha campaign alongside Uday Gammanpilla and Sarath Veerasekara. This comes in the context of earlier conflicting public statements made by Gammanpilla and Veerasekara regarding the mastermind of the Easter Sunday attacks. Gammanpilla had on several occasions stated that Zahran Hashim was the mastermind behind these attacks.
ආස්කු ප්‍රයාරේ මහාමුල කරු සාරාන් හසී මැර වෙන කවුරුද වෙන කවුරුවත් කියලා මේ පරීක්ෂණ නොමග යවන්න කවුරුන් උත්සාහ කරත් සාක්ෂි තියෙන්නේ තාර්කිකව පේන්නේ සාරාන් හසීම් පමණමයි.
While Gammanpilla's mastermind was Zahran Hashim, Sarath Veerasekara's mastermind was Newsfirst Maulavi.
According to the police and US investigations, it has been established that Newsfirst Maulavi played a key role as the mastermind behind the attack. He is said to have introduced ISIS ideology to Sri Lanka and influenced Zahran Hashim towards it in 2016. This has reportedly been confirmed by Zahran's wife, Sadia. The FBI has also identified Newsfirst Maulavi as a central figure in the planning and execution of the attack.
There appear to be conflicting positions in the past between Sarath Veerasekara and Uday Gammanpilla regarding the mastermind of the Easter Sunday attacks. However, they are now seeing aligning with Vimal Veeravansa in launching a joint Satyagraha. The move comes in response to ongoing judicial process and scientific investigations that have reportedly uncovered new information related to the case. While evidence is gradually emerging through systematic criminal investigations after 7 years, questions are being raised about attempts to challenge or counter these legal proceedings through public protests. For years, the public has been awaiting justice, and signs of progress in the investigation are now beginning to emerge. However, concerns are being raised over whether such political actions reflect the expectations of the public, who continue to call for justice and accountability. The question now being asked is, whose side are these political actors really on? For your attention.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Labour Mahinda Jayasinghe says that the progress being made in the investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks has left many individuals concerned about potential revelations.
මේ වෙනකොට මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයට අදාළව විශාල තොරතුරු ප්‍රමාණයක් එළිදරව් වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
A significant amount of information relating to the Easter Sunday attacks has now come to light. I believe the investigation has reached a critical stage in identifying those responsible and uncovering the truth behind the attacks. As a result, we can see that not only Salley but also many individuals associated with him appear to be increasingly concerned about the revelations that may emerge from his side and the ongoing investigations.
බය බීරාන්ත වෙලා තිබෙනවා.
Two major criminal investigations are currently at a decisive turning point.
One is the Easter Sunday terror attack and the other is the bond scam.
Justice is now being served before the law.
The leader of the main opposition party remains silent regarding these two major investigations.
Typically, it is the opposition of a country that raises its voice demanding justice for such matters.
However, opposition has chosen to focus its attention elsewhere.
The brutal series of attacks that claimed the lives of 277 innocent people and left over 500 others permanently disabled. 7 years of hidden truths are finally coming to light through systematic, scientific criminal investigations. So, what is Sajid Premadasa saying now about the Easter Sunday terror attacks? How is it that the leader of the opposition in the country still lacks the courage to make a statement regarding the Easter Sunday terror attack investigation? Yet, what did Sajid do while remaining silent? He attended the launch of Udayagam Mampilla's book, which names Zaharan Hashim as the mastermind behind the Easter attack. Gotabaya, Mahinda and Namal were also there. Do you remember what our country's leader of the opposition said back then?
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa misled the entire nation, especially the Catholic community, by claiming he would reveal the truth. His successor, President Ranil Wickremesinghe, followed in Gotabaya Rajapaksa's footsteps and played every trick in the book to prevent the truth behind this barbaric, disgraceful terror attack from being revealed. I declare that we will definitely ensure that all those responsible for the Easter attack are brought before the law and given the maximum punishment allowed by law.
As with the Easter Sunday attacks, fresh details are surfacing every day regarding the infamous central bank bond scams that took place between 2015 and 2017. Now, what does Sajid Premadasa's opposition have to say about this? Do you remember the comments made in the past? Sajid Premadasa broke away from the United National Party to form the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, stating he could no longer remain with those associated with the bond scams. Since then, he consistently maintained that he was leaving behind the bond thieves to pursue a new path. If you have forgotten, let us recall.
The Samagi Jana Balawegaya will never join hands with the bond thieves. Through the bond scam and corruption, billions were lost to this country. We completely drove out the central bank thieves. We drove out the masterminds of the bond transaction that destroyed the central bank and stole from it. Having driven them out, we reduced them to nothing and began a brand new journey.
While that was what was said, is that what is actually being done? Now that the High Court has granted permission to re-examine the case filed under the Public Property Act regarding the 2016-2017 bond scams, they are avoiding any mention of it. Now, Sajid is saying that everyone must come together for the sake of the country.
We need to come together. When we talk about unity, some people misunderstand it for bizarre concepts. That is not what we are referring to. This is not about uniting for personal gain or to fulfill individual interests. It is about coming together with the country in mind, prospering what is necessary and appropriate for the nation. If there are situations that are harmful to the country, we must work to address and correct them. As a responsible opposition, that is exactly what we aim to do.
As Sajith Premadasa calls for unity, the political contest between Namal Rajapaksa and Sajith Premadasa appears to be intensifying. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Anuradhapura district leader Janaka Tisakutiarachi says that Sajith Premadasa poses no challenge to Namal Rajapaksa.
We do not
see Sajith Premadasa as any challenge to us. Honestly, I don't even want to comment much about Sajith Premadasa. There are even talks that Sajith Premadasa's body should be combined with Ranil Wickremesinghe's head. So we are not the ones questioning his capability or leadership. Whoever comes forward, Sajith Premadasa or anyone else, they are not a challenge to Namal Rajapaksa. The path Namal Rajapaksa is on cannot be stopped. There is discussion across the country that Namal Rajapaksa will definitely win the presidential election in 2029 or even before that. Therefore, I do not believe that the SJB leadership, which has already been rejected by the people on several occasions, will be given power gained by the people.
This is the response of SJB MP Jagat Withana to the remarks made by SLPP Anuradhapura district leader Janaka Tisakutiarachi.
We are the ones on the winning side. If you look at the broader opposition, we are the main opposition force and we are aligned with the leader of the opposition. So naturally, the next time it is us who will come into power. Namal should become king. He should become the president, but not yet. He still has a long way to go in building his party and gaining that level of acceptance. That is the reality on the ground. Sajith Premadasa has been in parliament for 25 years. That is not a short period. He has held multiple ministerial positions. If someone cannot even secure the position of leader of the opposition, how can they directly aim for the presidency? That is something they need to understand.
Now, in the latest development from this story, former Director of State Intelligence Service, retired Major General Suresh Salley, who is being detained and questioned by the Criminal Investigation Department, has been admitted to the National Hospital in Colombo on medical advice. Football is widely regarded as the world's most popular sport. These days, football is attracting significant attention and discussions across the globe.
And that's right, and tomorrow will also be a special day for football fans in Sri Lanka. Bringing us more details on this and more is Tinal Tilakaratna. Over to you, Tinal.
Thank you, Arundhati and Sandro. Indeed, football is currently a major topic of discussion around the world, largely because of the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Now, with just 4 days remaining until the tournament kicks off, excitement is continuing to build among fans worldwide. Now, in the meantime, tomorrow also will be a special day for football enthusiasts in Sri Lanka. Now, the reason is that the Sri Lankan national team is set to take on Bhutan in an international friendly match tomorrow.
The international friendly match between Sri Lanka and Bhutan will be played tomorrow in Bangkok, Thailand. The match is scheduled to kick off at 5 p.m. Sri Lanka time. Bhutan are currently ranked 182nd in the FIFA World Rankings, while Sri Lanka occupy 205th place. Fans in Sri Lanka will be able to watch the match live on Sirasa TV and TV1. With just 4 days remaining until the start of the highly anticipated 2026 FIFA World Cup, football fans around the globe are eagerly counting down to the tournament. The competition, which will be jointly hosted by Canada, Mexico and the United States, will feature an expanded format of 48 teams, making it the largest FIFA World Cup in history. Matches will be played across 16 venues and divided into 12 groups during the tournament. The ongoing tensions between Iran and the United States have also drawn attention to the World Cup, with many closely monitoring how geopolitical developments could affect the tournament. Concerns had been raised regarding visa arrangements for Iranian players traveling to the United States, one of the host nations. However, reports indicate that the issue has until the 19th of July. The opening match of the tournament will see hosts Mexico take on South Africa at Mexico City Stadium, officially kicking off football's biggest global spectacle.
Weather first.
The Department of Meteorology today issued a special advisory for naval and fishing communities.
According to the Met Department, the sea areas off the coast extending from Kankasanture to Kalpitia via Mana will be very rough at times with strong gusty winds.
We now cross over to Tinal Tilkaratna once again for the latest weather update. Tinal?
Thank you. Now, the Department of Meteorology issuing an advisory has urged the naval and fishing communities not to venture into sea areas off the coast extending from Kankasanture to Kalpitia via Mana, as the sea areas will be rough at times with strong gusty winds up to 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. Now, the Department of Meteorology said the warning was issued due to prevailing active southwest monsoonal conditions. Let's now take a look at what the Met Department had to say about this.
When observing sea conditions around the island, particularly in the offshore waters from Kalpitia to Mana and up to Kankasanture, very strong winds of around 60 to 70 kilometers per hour are currently being experienced. As a result, these sea areas are expected to remain very rough. The Department of Meteorology has advised the fishing and maritime communities not to venture into these waters until further notice. In addition, in the sea areas extending from Trincomalee through Mullatiu to Kankasanture, as well as from Kalpitia through Colombo, Galle, Mathura, Hambantota and up to Pothubil, wind speeds may temporarily increase up to around 60 kilometers per hour. These conditions could also lead to rough seas at times. Naval and fishing communities are urged to exercise extreme caution and remain updated on official weather advisories.
Meanwhile, taking a look at the latest weather forecast issued by the Met Department, showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces, as well as in Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara districts. Now, fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters are likely at some places in western and Sabaragamu provinces, as well as in the Galle, Mathura, Kandy and the Nuwara district. Now, a few showers may occur in Anuradhapura and the Hambantota districts. Strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over western slopes of the central hills, northern, north-central provinces, as well as the Hambantota and the Trincomalee districts. Now, fairly strong winds of about 30 to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the other areas of the island. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions during strong winds locally and winds during lightning and thunder showers. Meteorological experts have already warned that an El Nino condition could develop globally. Now, they emphasize that the situation has the potential to escalate into a super El Nino. Now, if a super El Nino condition occurs, are we prepared for it? Let's take a look.
The Department of Irrigation says that in order to manage the potential risk, water will be released from reservoirs only in accordance with the decisions made during seasonal meetings.
The 73 major reservoirs controlled by the Irrigation Department currently hold 63% of their water capacity. The current water volume in these reservoirs is sufficient for Yalla season cultivation. However, as there are forecasts of a potential future El Nino condition, any reduction in rainfall could impact cultivation. Therefore, it is essential to adhere strictly to the decisions made at seasonal meetings when drawing water from these reservoirs, especially regarding the rotational water distribution systems in the irrigation projects. Through proper water management and usage, we can conserve some water levels in these reservoirs. Saving water for the 2026 to 2027 Maha season will allow us to begin that season on time.
The Water Management Secretariat says that according to forecasts, if an El Nino condition occurs, hydropower generation could decline in the future. However, its director, Engineer Nilanta Dhanapala, stated that attention is already being focused on the necessary steps to ensure a continuous power supply. He also noted that water is currently being released only in the volumes necessary for hydropower generation. Preparation for potential impacts on the agricultural sector during an El Nino condition.
According to the current situation, there will be no shortage of rice. We have nearly 140,000 metric tons of red and white rice available. We are milling and releasing this to the market through the Paddy Marketing Board, and Lanka and other business communities also hold stocks. There is a 4-month surplus of red and white nada rice in the country. Regarding the shortage of kiri samba and samba rice, we have imported sufficient quantities. We have a surplus of rice in the country to last until the upcoming Maha season. There will be no rice shortage.
Weather first. News first. Main sponsor.
2 countries, 2 degrees within 4 years. Call ACBT. 2 countries, 2 degrees in engineering within 4 years. Be a professional in robotics, mechatronics, and electrical engineering. The next generation of careers that go beyond borders. Limited number of seats for the June intake. Call ACBT on 0117-699-499 or visit www.acbt.net.
The ultimate stage, built to ignite the talents of our nation's children. The open-air stage at Galnava Kattaragama Primary School is now officially open. To dance, to sing, to play music. Children, this stage belongs to you. Gamadha, for the people, by the people.
Chairman of the Ceylon Biscuit Limited Group of Companies, widely known as CBL, Ramya Sanath Amarveera Wickramasinghe, has passed away. He was 79 years old at the time of his passing.
Ramya Wickramasinghe, the younger son of Simon Arthur Wickramasinghe, founder of Williams Confectionery Company established in the 1930s, played a pivotal role in shaping what is today the Ceylon Biscuit Limited Group. Following the passing of his father in 1967, he joined his 3 brothers in taking over the family business, laying the foundation for the expansion and development of the CBL Group. A specialist food technologist by profession, he made significant contributions towards improving the nutritional value and quality of the company's products. He served as deputy chairman of the group for many years before being appointed chairman of the CBL Group in 2015. His remains will lie at his residence on Arthur Place, Dehiwala until 4:15 p.m. tomorrow for public respects. The final rites are scheduled to be held tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Mount Lavinia Public Cemetery.
Sri Lankan film director and writer Dr. Visakes Chandrasekaram clinched the 33rd Gratian Prize for his novel The Son and the Lover. He was awarded with the prize at a ceremony attended by diplomats and key cultural figures in Colombo.
The 33rd Gratian Prize, established to recognize and encourage creative writing in English in Sri Lanka, was held in Colombo last night.
As Dr. Saravanamutu said, it is a wonderful celebration of the creativity of Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans. We tend to think, at least in my country, of Sri Lanka's main intellectual exports as being doctors and architects. But I think there's a case for making creative writers an important part of that export.
Speaking at the ceremony, chairperson of the Gratian Trust, Dr. Bhagyaswathi Saravanamuthu, highlighted that creative writing in English remains an important medium to express ideas and thoughts shaped by contemporary social realities.
When one considers that the Trust has done this over 33 years, that is, I think, at one level a testament to the abiding interest in English literature and creative writing in this country. And what is particularly important is that throughout those years, and indeed this year as well, the ideas, the themes that they have drawn upon have a particular relevance to what is happening in our society. I think attests to the fact that writing in English, creative writing in English, is not just a pastime of those who have, well, basically nothing else to do. But it is very much a need to express the ideas, the thoughts that have come about as a consequence of what is happening in society around. In that sense, it's eminently contextual.
Visakesa Chandrasekaram was named the winner of the 33rd Gratian Prize for his novel, The Son and the Lover. The winning work was praised for its originality, strong narrative craft, and literary excellence, and was selected as the most outstanding entry among the shortlisted submissions. The 33rd Gratian Prize shortlist included Dear Father, The Refugee by Alan de Costa, God, Bangles, and A Constitution by Ikeli Anuttara, In the Curve of the Smile by Uminiyathu Korala, and The Son and the Lover by Visakesa Chandrasekaram, all considered for the final award. Chandrasekaram, a previous joint winner of the Gratian Prize in 1999, is also widely known as a filmmaker, human rights lawyer, activist, writer, dramatist, songwriter, artist, stage performer, and academic. His notable works include Frangipani, Pangshu, and Manil.
Today marks the 100th day of the war between the United States, Israel and Iran, a conflict that has continued with no clear resolution in sight.
Now, despite a ceasefire agreement reached on April 8, fighting has continued intermittently, but the Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed, keeping global shipping under severe strain, with ripple effects also being felt in Sri Lanka.
To bring us details on the very latest developments from the Middle East, we are now being joined by Shalini Ratnavira.
Yes, thank you, Sadaru and Anuruddhi. Now, a war that was previously expected by US President Donald Trump to end very fast has now reached its 100th day with no clear resolution in sight. The conflict continues to escalate, with reported casualties rising to around 7,000 across multiple countries. Disruptions in global shipping through the Strait of Hormuz and rising oil prices are also adding to global concern. US Central Command said its forces recently shot down additional Iranian drones it claims were threatening vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the President Trump has called for intensified and more surgical strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon, effectively backing an escalation of Israel's ongoing military campaign. He made the remarks in an NBC interview, saying he wanted to see Lebanon experience a better life. The ongoing conflict continues to draw international attention and mounting civilian casualties and regional instability. Let's take a look at these developments in detail.
Today marks 100 days since the start of the war between the United States, Israel and Iran, which US President Donald Trump had previously said would be finished very fast. According to foreign media, despite a ceasefire agreed on the 8th of April, the Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed. Fire continues and talks have repeatedly collapsed. Preliminary figures cited in foreign media reports indicate at least 7,000 people have been killed since the beginning of the conflict. This includes 3,593 deaths in Lebanon, 3,468 in Iran, 29 in Gulf states, as well as 26 Israelis and 13 US soldiers killed in Iranian attacks. Situation at the Strait of Hormuz. Since the beginning of the war, hundreds of ships have been stranded in the Strait of Hormuz. According to ship tracking data, about 607 ships have crossed through the strait between the 28th of February and the 31st of May, an average of almost 7 per day, far below the roughly 100 daily transits before the war. With the strait closed, global oil stockpiles were drawn down at a record pace, triggering fears of depletion as the conflict extended. Furthermore, the US has imposed its own blockade of Iranian ports since mid-April, further disrupting commercial shipping in the waterway. Situation in the oil market. Energy markets have been shaken by the war, with oil prices almost doubling over the past 3 months. The International Energy Agency described the disruption as the largest energy shock on record. Before the war, Brent crude, the global benchmark for oil prices, cost about $70 per barrel. A week into the war, prices crossed $100 for the first time since 2022, eventually peaking at nearly $120 before settling back to about $100, where they remain today. Central to these oil swings in particular was the social media activity of President Trump, whose posts on Truth Social frequently triggered multi-billion-dollar swings in oil futures. Latest on a possible peace deal. Twice now, war has broken out in the middle of negotiations, first in June 2025 and again on the 28th of February 2026, when the US and Israel struck Iran while talks were still underway. The United States and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire brokered by Pakistan. The deal was intended to pause fighting and reopen diplomatic negotiations, while Iran agreed to allow shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. The first serious rounds of negotiations to end the war took place in Pakistan between the 11th and the 12th of April. Iran and the US met in Islamabad for talks that ultimately collapsed over the nuclear question. Trump said that, quote-unquote, most points were agreed to, but the only point that mattered, nuclear, was not. Iran rejected the US position and issued a counter-proposal, which Trump later dismissed as garbage, warning the ceasefire was on life support. The US promptly announced a naval blockade on Iranian shipping. Meanwhile, in the latest developments from the war situation, US Central Command says its forces have shot down additional Iranian drones it claims were threatening vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on X, US Central Command stated earlier today its forces in the Middle East downed 2 Iranian one-way attack drones, which it said posed a threat to international maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. The military added that it remains ready to continue defending against Iranian aggression. This latest incident follows a similar action on Friday, when US forces reportedly shot down 4 other Iranian attack drones. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi has arrived in Iran carrying a special letter for Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei as Islamabad steps up diplomatic efforts aimed at ending the US-Israeli war on Iran, which began 100 days ago. Naqvi reached Tehran late last night, where he met his Iranian counterpart, Eskander Momeini. According to Naqvi, the two sides discussed the latest regional developments and matters related to internal security, among other issues. Iranian media had earlier reported that he was carrying a letter from Pakistan's army chief and prime minister for the supreme leader of Iran. The visit comes amid renewed tensions in the Gulf region. AJ+, a part of the Al Jazeera media network, has reported that a Sri Lankan woman has been killed in an Israeli airstrike in southern Lebanon after remaining in the area to care for stray cats and dogs. The woman, identified as Rama, had reportedly refused to leave despite the ongoing conflict, choosing instead to stay behind to look after abandoned animals. According to regional reports and posts circulating on social media, Rama was killed in an Israeli strike in southern Lebanon. The incident comes amid continued Israeli military operations across southern Lebanon, despite a ceasefire arrangement. However, Sri Lankan authorities had not immediately issued an official statement on the reported death.
In more international news, in India, the Cockroach Janata Party, a youth-driven political movement that has gained significant traction through social media, staged a large-scale protest yesterday. Let's take a look at the details of the demonstration.
Youth who joined the protest of the Cockroach Janata Party reportedly warned the central government that if Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is not removed from his post or does not resign within the next 7 days, they will launch a new wave of nationwide protests. Participants in the protest notably carried the Indian national flag along with a book which was used to symbolize the right to education and equal opportunities for all. The protesters further stated that since India's education system has completely collapsed, they have successfully launched a struggle aimed at restructuring it. The Cockroach Janata Party, which has been making headlines in Indian media for the past several weeks, has now attracted the attention of millions of internet users. Analysts say it has become one of the largest youth movements in Indian political history to emerge in such a short time through social media influence.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us.
Do take care and good night.